calling this meeting to order. If you have your cell phones off, please turn them off. Mute them for the meeting. Becky, can you call roll?
I sure will. Jack Sprogstad.
Here.
Allie Hess.
Here.
Dean Creel.
Here.
Katie White. Ron Gascoigne.
Here.
Reed Acree.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. If any visitors, there is a Kayla Flood listed on the Zoom. Kayla, do you have any comments that you would like to make while at this time?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Kayla Flood, as was just stated. I am with Standard Solar, and I'm here today to discuss the solar ordinance for the Maples Road solar project that we will be building.
Okay, could we default to you if we need to during that part of the discussion? Is that fine?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. I see we have one other guest here, Greg Gates. Greg?
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, committee members. Just a short update on the report that you should have as part of your documents for this month. A couple of key indicators as we're closing out one series of studies with the feasibility studies for Rochelle and Dixon for the fixed routes. We are now starting a new one. Actually, we held our first meeting for the transit desert study that we're doing with NIU. We held it in this room. Thank you very much, County, last Wednesday. And we had a total of around 29 participants, either in person or virtual. So that is kicking off the study, which basically will look at areas where there is a need for transit of some sort in both Lee and Ogle counties. So some exciting stuff there. And I'd say even more exciting than that is after about 4 years, we now have been told by IDOT that we are getting some new vehicles. So we actually will have approximately 6 within the next 2 months, maybe a little sooner, but that's exciting news for us.
Awesome. I just wanted, as I'm looking at your notes here, I'm looking at your miles of service versus November and December, and then the cost of gas. Even though you had more miles of service in December, the gas cost was much cheaper than November. I just thought that was
it has been trending downward for
Yep.
the past, I would say, 3 or 4 months. And I think the bill was around what, $16,000.
Yep, it was. So I just think that that's awesome, and that's a good way for the county and the country. So any other questions for Greg? Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
I see Paul, you're here as well. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us, Paul?
Yes, thank you. It just a reminder to the department heads and even the board members that your W-2s for your team and as board members for your individuals are in the treasurer's office. I'd like you to come down and get those so that we don't have to mail them and save the county a little money in terms of postage. So they are there, but I will remind everybody also, they will be on MyPay in the next few days so that you can see them online as well. You must, on the MyPay site, you must go into your profile and approve that you will accept to see your W-2 through the online system. It's just a little checkbox that you click and it's there for you. So,
Okay.
So come down and get your W-2s.
All righty. Thank you. All right. Any other guests? I don't see anybody here unless any board members that are present have anything to say. Nope. Mike? Nope. Okay. All right. So on the next approval of the minutes, if everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes presented, if there are no changes or corrections to the minutes from the December 10th meeting, anybody had any changes on it? If not, they will stand as presented. Okay, next would be the Transportation Solid Waste. Dave Anderson, would you like to walk the committee through your report that you have submitted? Nope, it's not. Can you grab that other one? I see you got the green light. The green light is on. It's just not coming through.
How's that?
There we go.
All right. You got a letting schedule there. We're busy putting a whole bunch of projects together for lettings the next few months. You're all welcome to come down to those if you would like. You've got They'll be at 9 o'clock. I didn't put that on there. They'll be at 9 a.m. If you want to show up for those. There's a couple on there in March that are let in Springfield. You can go down there if you want, I guess, but I won't be there. So we've got a couple that are state let as well. And some of these projects can shift around just a little bit in the letting timing, just depending on some approval processes through IDOT and so forth. But in general, we'll be having lettings the next 3 and maybe even 4 months. Some may stretch into May. Got about $6 million worth of work there. So, in addition to that, I've been working on updating and changing around our stormwater management ordinance, and just wanted to give you an idea of what's going on there. The main thing that is happening there, amongst a few other things, but the main thing is essentially a reduction in the size of the detention ponds that would be required. Right now, the way that's calculated is you take the 5-year storm, you apply it to the undeveloped site. Okay, that defines your release rate. Then you take a 100-year storm, you apply it to the developed site. So, you know, a site that's got more impervious area. And the differential in those two rates that are headed off the site then informs your storage volume. What we're proposing in this ordinance change would be to take a 2-year storm, apply it to the undeveloped site. Okay, that would be a release rate. And then we would apply the 100-year storm to the undeveloped site. So nothing would leave, you know, any faster than what already does, essentially. That would kind of reduce the size of the detention ponds that are required. You're wondering, you know, why do that? I'm finding, you know, as more development picks up now, we've had this ordinance in place for a long time. We had several that we had to do, say, prior to 2008. Then when the bottom kind of fell out in 2008, there just hasn't been a whole lot of development. It's picking up now, you know, and primarily we're dealing in the rural areas. Okay. And, you know, kind of large detention ponds in the rural areas seems a bit excessive. And one of the things that's also in this ordinance, though, is that if you're within 1.5 miles of municipality, and a municipality does have that jurisdiction at that point, and they have a stormwater ordinance, the more restrictive would apply. So if you do get around a more populated area and, you know, your municipality's stormwater ordinance is stricter, then, you know, that's the one that's going to be used. Did some checking around other counties, and it ranges from other counties don't even have a stormwater ordinance to some that have them are less restrictive like this. And there are a few around that are actually even more restrictive. So trying to kind of hit the middle of the road there and make a change. The other notable things on this is there are some things that we've been exempting that we just kind of want to memorialize. First off, if your impervious area on the site that you want to develop is less than 1/4 acre, or what I have in here is 11,000 square feet to sort of round it off, you would be exempt. Okay, so if you're going to develop, you know, impervious area less than 1/4 acre, you're exempt. A single family residence is exempt. When we look at solar farms that are coming up, this has been a new issue that we've had to sort of try and squeeze into our ordinance that it really doesn't address, those would be exempted as well if they can demonstrate that the runoff from the developed site would be less than what exists. And in most cases, well, all cases that I've seen so far, the grasses that get planted on a solar farm actually result in less runoff than a cultivated field. Okay, so not to mention, it'd be really difficult on some larger solar farms to really do detention ponds, because you can imagine, you look at a farm field, and sometimes you can see 4 waterways in a farm field, and those would represent 4 different drainage areas that you'd have all these little detention ponds all over the place. It'd be really difficult to do anyway. So that would be an exemption. Of course, anything that's ag facilities and ag practices that are generally exempt or exempt as well. So that's pretty much the crux of it and what we're trying to accomplish and why Alice is helping me shepherd me through the text amendment process. So I think what you would see this month would be the board pushing this to planning. So there'll be opportunities, obviously, to comment through the process. So,
Yeah.
but if you have any questions now, let me know. But that's kind of the explanation.
Yeah, it's further on the agenda to motion this to the obviously the county board to go to the planning commission. So
Okay.
any questions for David on this?
Couple other things, working on, I have a shop foreman will be retiring in June. So, Jeremy just let me know. He got the ad up here, last night or something. So that's live. So there's a ad out for the replacement there. I figured we'd start early. Who knows what the situation will be, how long it'll take. And depending on the individual, how much, say, overlap time we might need. So we're getting going on that process now. Last thing is doing a engineering agreement for a township bridge, and just to explain a little bit how the funding works on that. We'll use what's called township bridge funds to pay for that. Those are sort of like our township motor fuel tax funds. They go into our treasury, but they're not ours, right? They're not ours to spend. We administer that, if you might call that, but they're not ours. We don't budget for them. So going through the process of getting that agreement approved, and anyway, that doesn't necessitate going through the board is my point on that. But we're going through that. This particular bridge that we're talking about is on Beamerville Road. Oh, I don't know what that is, about a couple miles east of 251, right by Stewart Road. It's an interesting little bridge, and the consultant that's got their proposal in for the agreements figuring on about 680 hours worth of work to do the design. So that's just not something that we have the time to do. We're currently working on a couple bridges in-house right now, one for the county on Brooklyn Road, and then one for Reynolds Township on Maloogans Grove. And then, we got $6 million other work we're doing. So at any rate, these will be more common as the years roll by to have engineering agreements on township bridges. And that's because the township bridge allotment has increased 4 times from what it was a couple years ago, which is a good thing. It hadn't changed since 1979. So we got an increase, and so there'll be more bridges built on the township system in the coming years, and we just don't have the hours in the day to get them all done. So we'll be doing consulting agreements as time goes on. So I just let you know what the process is there. Other than that, I think that's about it, unless there's any questions.
Reed, I thought you had a question there.
Yeah, just going back to the previous deal with the changing of the floodplain or the
Stormwater. Yep.
stormwater. It just gets passed on one way to the surveying and engineering companies, like say Willett Huffman. That gets passed on to them somehow.
Right. So what'll happen is, presuming that this goes all the way through the process and gets adopted, then that'll then be put up in our code on the website. So anybody's got access to that. So yes, then they'll be then informed of the new requirements.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you, Dave. We're going to move on to the assessor's office. Jennifer Boyd is not here. Her report is in your onboard and be available to the public at a later date. Same thing with Sammy's GIS report is not there. Or his report is there. He is not here. So, and then that brings us to Jeremy, the county board.
Good morning, everybody. Just a quick update on where we are at with BEAD. Again, BEAD is the broadband programming that we're working with the state of Illinois as long as other internet service providers. Quick refresher, Illinois was awarded $1.04 billion in funding to expand broadband infrastructure throughout the state. Currently, they're moving towards phase one of this round in the BEAD project. Lee County, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Lee County currently has the highest eligible broadband serviceable locations in the state of Illinois that is able to get BEAD funding. So it's great that we have such a high profile for us to receive these funds, but it also shows us that this was a necessary step for us to take because there are so many locations, serviceable locations that do not have service or are underserved. So it's pretty fascinating that Lee County out of the entire state has the highest unserved or needed serviceable locations that are eligible for this funding. And that is roughly about 8,300 locations throughout the county. The next highest is Ogle with 6,300. And then it kind of continues to scale down from there. We are working with 3 different internet service providers through this process, one of which is Frontier, another is Surf, and then there's another smaller company as well as Comcast. Comcast is involved in this as well. The way that this is going to go, they are right now crafting their draft applications for this first phase. The first phase is going to essentially work at the hardest to serve areas. They're estimating that that's going to be January 23rd through February 26th. As they start selecting that process, the folks that we've worked with are going to pinpoint our hardest to serve areas throughout the county and make sure that that's in their process for phase one. Then wave, what they're calling it wave 2 will hopefully start in spring of 2025. And that's going to be an effort on all the other remaining locations. So as I said, I mean, when we started this process, earlier last year, it was, we're going to puzzle piece this together. I don't think there's one internet service provider that's going to be able to fix this for all of us, right? Or for everybody here in the county. So that's why we're working with multiple of them, and some have a focus on our more rural communities. Some have a focus on, our more highly density, populated communities. And some just kind of are piecemealing together. So as this continues to move along, I'll have more updates for you, but we are primed for a lot of funding, not the county necessarily, but investment into the county. And we're really excited about that. So we have some good partners in place here, and we're gonna work with them the best we can to make sure that our community is served. Any questions on BEAD?
Just wanted to comment, Jeremy, I'm very thankful that you brought this to the county board's attention and that you spearheaded this, getting this thing going, especially when we're number 1 in the county that has the greatest need for this. So I thank you for all the work that you are doing on this as well. So any questions for Jeremy?
I appreciate that. Next update quickly, we are working on our RAISE planning grant application in partnership with Sauk Valley Community College, the RMTD, Greg back there. We're looking at another $1.4 million roughly planning grant. This will be for the multi-use path from City of Dixon to Sauk Valley Community College. This is our 4th iteration, I do believe, of this. Greg, 3rd, 4th? Somewhere around there, 3rd. So Greg and I met with the feds after our last application, and they worked with us on some of the things that we needed to craft better for our merit criteria and make sure we provide better data. That's what we're trying to do. Aaron Rowe from Sauk Valley Community College has been a great partner in providing data for us in this from a regional perspective and from an internal countywide perspective. So we're really appreciative of that. That application is due January 30th. So we're kind of in the last leg of getting that narrative taken care of and getting final touches on that, and hopefully have a hopefully we have a better response than we did in the previous iterations. So if this does not go forth after this round, we may be looking at a different route, different alternative application for future rounds if the funding is still available. So any questions?
Any more questions? All right, thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
County Clerk Recorder Nancy Peterson, would you like to walk the committee through your report?
Yes, thank you, Jack. Good morning, everyone. Just a couple of updates. The consolidated election is 11 weeks away. And we are in the process right now of doing the ballot certification, and that deadline is January 23rd. Early voting will start in 1 month approximately 1 month from today, February 20th. And so this is the election that we need to get the word out that people need to get out and vote, because this is the most work that my office has to do for this election, and it's the least attended. And it's, everything that goes on in the county. It's your municipalities, your townships. It's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things going on, but every little is big for that.
Right.
office. So this is just as big for these individual areas. So school boards.
Yep, absolutely. And so next month I'll have a little bit more of a closer update for you on election judges, because we do lose quite a few of them to their snowbirds, so they go south. So I'll have much more of a closer figure next month on where we are for election judges for April 1st.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, tax extension is underway on my second floor. And then I just wanted to give you, as my committee, a heads up that this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I am in Peoria for our winter conference for the Illinois Association of County Clerks and Recorders. So this is a very informative conference that we have. We get a lot of updates from State Board of Elections. So they have their teams that come to this meeting and give us all the latest news and updates for us to move forward smoothly into the next election. And that's all I have. Questions?
All right, thank you. Any questions for Nancy? Okay, next is the IT department, Paul Gorski. He is not here. He did submit a report to me in my email. I don't know if we got it on it is on the onboard, so it's available to everyone here. It'll be public here later on. Next one is Regional Office of Education, Chris Hennison. Would you like to walk the committee through your report?
Yeah, thank you. December's a big paperwork month for us with the first semester coming to an end. Hard to believe it. First semester went that quick. But we have to do reports for a lot of our grants. And then with our districts closed down for 2 weeks, we have a little bit slower month. So we typically don't do a report for December, but our February report will have a little bit of activity for December and our January information next month. So good news is you don't have to listen to me too long, but the bad news is
I was wondering where that gap was, but anyways, thank you. Anything for Chris? All right. Next is veteran assistance. Mr. Gorman is not here, but he did submit a report. There's some really interesting things in there that I did not know that we provide for the Veterans Assistance Program. So please take a look at that and go from there. What's that?
He did put in his email that he's working on getting information for the
Oh, okay, for the
officer.
office, okay. That was the topic we talked about, the VSO.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's going to be getting some more information for us on that, so, good. All right, next on there is zoning planning. Alice, would you like to walk the committee through your report?
Sure. Good morning. Actions coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have petition number 24P1634 by Georgios Karountzos. This property is located at 823 Sterling Road, Dixon, Illinois, in Marion Township. And George is seeking a special use permit for auto repair minor. The parcel is currently zoned Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District and is 5 acres in size. The public hearing was held on January 2nd. No members of the public were present. The zoning board voted unanimously to recommend this petition to the county board with the following conditions. Petitioner shall be limited to working on 15 vehicles on site at one time. No vehicle shall be stored or parked in the public right of way. No sign shall be placed on the property unless approved by the Lee County Zoning Office. The petitioner shall not operate a junkyard or scrap processing facility, as those terms are defined by the Lee County Code, from the property. And the petitioner shall comply with, among other things, the hazardous materials section of the Lee County Code. I was not able to get this on board prior to the meeting today. That's why you have a hard copy in front of you. I would like to note that I would recommend adding one additional condition, which has been placed in the proposed resolution, that should the subject realty transfer ownership to anyone other than the petitioner, that the special use permit shall become null and void upon transfer to any new owner. Action going to the Zoning Board of Appeals in February. We have two petitions that involve the same parcel. This property is commonly known as 2506 Shaw Road in West Brooklyn. It is the former Twin Creeks Tire and Service Center. The separate petitions would address both buildings on the property. The wife would like to use one building for a farmer's market. She has goats. She would like to sell her goat milk products at this location, as well as other farm products like fresh garden produce. The other building on the property, they're seeking to utilize it for construction and farm equipment, machinery, sales, and service. He intends to repair farm machinery at this property in his spare time. So they are looking for two separate special use petitions, but it would be for the same property. We have nothing coming from Planning Commission, and going to Planning Commission, we have Mr. Anderson's petition seeking a text amendment for Title 11 Subdivision Flood Control and Stormwater Management, Chapter 4 Stormwater Management of the Lee County Code of Ordinances. Excuse me. There are two other zoning petitions that are still currently pending. Petition number 24P1632 by Jeff Lewis, and petition number 24P1635 by Jake Kastner. Mr. Lewis's petition is a petition for variance. He was wanting time to address some concerns with his neighbors, so he asked for a continuance. And then subsequently, he asked for a second continuance because of a medical appointment. So his petition will be heard on February 6th at 6 p.m. Mr. Kastner's petition, as his parcels are located within 1.5 miles of the city of Dixon, must go through Dixon's processes first before coming to the county. So that is why the zoning board continued it last month, and it will be heard next month. A little information on Mr. Kastner's petition. It does involve 4 parcels. He is primarily seeking to do forestry on these parcels, which is an agricultural use by the state statute. The parcels are currently zoned R2, so he's trying to align the zoning with the use to become compliant under the county's standards. He had also referenced chickens to his home parcel. This has raised a lot of concerns apparently with the city of Dixon. They were afraid that this was going to be a full-on chicken operation at this location. That is not his intent. He was hoping to maybe have a few personal chickens, but it would not be, the primary use is going to be forestry, not chicken farming. Last month, the county board voted to approve a moratorium on battery energy storage systems. I was hoping to have a draft to you by this month. Unfortunately, I was not able to get that done, so I will have that to you next month. My office also began working with the state's attorney's office on a text amendment to allow for a zoning hearing officer in place of the zoning board of appeals. I was not able to have a draft to you by this month, so again, I'm going to be looking to have that to you next month. Recently, Deputy Zoning Administrator Laura Mangrum was one of 12 people selected nationwide to participate in FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Assistance External Stakeholder Working Group. As part of this working group, Laura will meet with local and state employees who engage in hazard mitigation assistance activities to collect data on what is and what is not working, attend monthly virtual meetings, as well as 2 meetings that will be in person, with the goal of bringing forth solutions to help streamline the hazard mitigation assistance process. I feel this is a unique opportunity for Laura that will also provide Lee County with insight into any changes coming from FEMA in the future. Earlier last year, the zoning office began working with the owners of Sauk Valley Granite on Willett Avenue near that place on Palmyra. We're happy to share with you that the majority of the violations regarding the floodplain have been resolved. We're kind of letting them take the winter off. We'll regroup with them in the spring to resolve the last of the issues. And then we'll be looking to move across the street to deal with the Eller and Wiley Block issues. Next month, I will be attending PowerGen International 2025 in Dallas, Texas. PowerGen is a premier event for professionals in the power generation industry that serves as a central hub for over 7,500 attendees, including power producers, utilities, EPCs, consultants, OEMs, large-scale energy users, and government representatives. This year's conference will focus on key topics such as digitalization, decarbonization, efficiency, hydrogen, nuclear, energy storage, and broader clean energy transition. This event aims to guide energy professionals through the ever-evolving landscape of power generation, focusing on sustainable and cleaner energy solutions as the industry moves forward. This conference will take place from February 11th to the 13th, and so I will not be here next month to present to you. During the month of December 2024, the zoning office processed 13 building permits and collected $2,154.85 in permit fees. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Alice? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go through these, some of these petitions. And then when we get to the motion of the Maple Solar, we'll go ahead and stop and let you kind of go over that a little bit more detail if that's fine with you. Okay. So again, there's 2 petitions going to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is there a motion to move petition number 25P 1636 to the Executive Committee for the inclusion on the January County Board agenda? First by Dean Friel, seconded by Mr. Gascoigne. Any discussion? Okay, no discussion. All those in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay. Next, is there a motion to move petition number 25P 1637 to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the January County Board agenda? First by Dean Friel, seconded by Ron Gascoigne. Any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Then we have one petition coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. And is there a motion to move the resolution for petition 24P 1634 to Executive Committee for inclusion on the January County Board agenda? First by Rita Acree, seconded by Dean Friel. Any discussion on this motion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay, so then we have one petition going to the planning commission. This is that stormwater management. Is there a motion to move petition number 25 PC 77 to the executive committee for inclusion on the January county board agenda? First by Ali Huss, seconded by Ron Gascoigne. Any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so this is the next one is the security for the decommissioning of the Maples Road Solar. Do you want to go a little bit on that? And then Kayla, you may be called on too if you're ready to go.
Sure.
Okay, so this is regarding the Maple Road Solar. The petition that they filed under, or the ordinance number they filed under was 11-22-008. And this ordinance states that once the zoning administrator has approved the cost estimate for the decommissioning, the applicant shall deposit in the county's escrow account unless the county board in its sole discretion agrees to accept alternative security or a portion thereof in the form of a security bond approved by the county, an amount of 125% of the cost estimate. So Maples Road is here today because they are requesting to provide surety in a form other than cash escrow. And the ordinance that they filed under gives the county board this authority so that they don't have to go back through the zoning process. So they are here today to request alternative financial security option for their decommissioning funds.
Okay, Kayla, what's your alternatives, so to speak?
So for our alternatives, we are either requesting a surety bond, a decommissioning bond, or a letter of credit for the full amount, which would be the 125% of the decommissioning amount, which comes out to roughly $1 million.
Okay.
So speaking to other energy projects that have come before the county has allowed this previously. I want to say one of the most recent ones was the Shady Oaks 2 wind farm, where they requested financial surety option of a letter of credit as opposed to cash escrow.
Okay. Any comments from the panel here? Charlie, do you have an opinion?
I share the opinion that Alice just gave you, which is we've done this before. I don't have a problem with doing a letter of credit. We've gone down this path before, so it's fairly standard at this point.
It's very okay.
With the letter of credit, we typically do ask that there is like a administration fee associated with that, just for our administration of the letter of credit.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions before we, well, actually, I don't know if we should do a motion first and then make a discussion on it. Or, yeah, let's get a motion on the table and then we can talk about it. So is there a motion to move petition of the amend financial security for decommissioning Maples Road Solar Zoning Department to the executive committee for inclusion on the January County Board agenda? First by Ray Decree, seconded by Dean Frio. Okay, any discussion on this? Any comments that you guys want to talk about on this petition? I'm not familiar with it, so I mean, I'm personally I'm leaning towards Alice's judgment on this and Charlie's judgment. So I'm trusting that they know what they're doing, and that this flood came here to to propose it as well. So
that administration fee, is that a yearly update schedule?
Yes, I believe on the Shady Oaks two project, I think it was only like $55 per megawatt. So it'd be a nominal fee, but it is something to cover our administration of the letter of credit.
And the petitioner has agreed to those terms and those would be written in the final.
Miss, I have not talked to them about the administrative fee.
Okay.
So
And updating it annually. Correct?
what do you mean? update?
Checking the letter of credit annually to make sure that nothing has
Yes.
changed. Those would be the terms that we would ask the petitioner to agree to in the final petition.
Correct.
So the county is completely covered via the letter of credit on an annual basis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hallie. Never would have thought of that. Any other comments? Okay, all right, so we have a motion, no more discussions. All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, all right, thank you, Ms. Flood. And Alice for that. I have no listing for unfinished business. I have nothing for a new business and nothing executive. I have a motion to adjourn. First by Ron, second by Dean. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.